being vegan a few years ago used to be as difficult as saying Uni's last name. So thank you guys for 13. So I'm just going to talk for maybe 10 or 15 minutes about the work that I do with Vegan Outreach. So sometimes the question arises, is being vegetarian important? And 30 to 35 land animals per year give a resounding yes. So give yourselves a round of applause for not eating animals, because that's huge. Really huge. So as you guys probably know, 99% of animals that are killed in the United States are killed for food. So although that number is drastic and really, really sad, in a way it's good because each one of us, as effective animal advocates, can create a huge, huge amount of impact with a limited amount of time. So it's important to look beyond our own personal vegetarianism and look at the exponential change that we can create as effective animal advocates. So that's something that's you should always keep in the back of your mind. So I work for a group called Vegan Outreach. Vegan Outreach has been around since 1994, but in the early 2000s we really started upping our game, which I'll get to in a minute. We have collectively handed out about 19 million booklets, primarily on college campuses, but also concerts and events and things of that nature. And we are now currently on pace to hit about 1 million booklets this semester. So, we're reaching many, many, many students with this message. Vegan Outreach believes that, when we're choosing to do one thing, we're choosing not to do another. So each one of us has limited time and limited resources. So it's about allocating that limited time and resources in a way that can create the most amount of change for animals. Because as you guys know, the situation is really bad for animals. There are many, many, many animals out there that need our help. So with that dire, dire need in place, it's important that we, utilize our skills in a way that can make the biggest impact possible. Of course, the biggest impact is concentrated in farm animals. That's where you get your biggest bang for your buck, or biggest bang for your activism buck, I should say. Every new vegetarian is a significant victory for animals. That's 30 to 35 animals per year, per person, for many, many years. And not to even mention the amount of influence that they'll have in the future. So when you create a new vegetarian, you are doing as much good as you will your entire life by just being veg. So it's important to remember that as activists, we can create just exponentially amount larger of change. So, to give you guys a definition of what leafleting is, I know a lot of you guys are pros or veterans, but some of you have maybe not leafleted before. Leafleting is really simple. It's, you basically take a box of pamphlets, which I'll give you guys later. I brought some with me in case you haven't seen them before. They're about 16 pages. They talk about how animals are treated in today's farms and promotes a vegetarian diet. We distribute these mostly on college campuses. And we basically take a box of pamphlets, set it down somewhere, find a spot with busy foot traffic, and begin distributing the pamphlets. It isn't sexy, it isn't glamorous, but it gets the goods. We find it to be very, very effective use of our time and very, very effective use of every dollar spent. Leafleting has really played a crucial role in past social justice movements. Thomas Paine's Common Sense really got people revved up about the American Revolution. Leafleting played a crucial role in the abolishment of slavery, and leafleting in the early 20th century even played a role in getting women the right to vote. So although leafleting is the most sexy of activities, it is very, very powerful. The interpersonal connection that we have with many, many individuals is very important. And of course, it's not, just like Uni was saying earlier, it is a numbers game, but even if you have, reach a small amount of students, each one of those interactions is very important. And, we're always having discussions with people, too, on a regular basis about how animals are treated, because this is an issue that many, many people care about. Each year we spend billions of dollars on our pets. We help animals in so many ways, but also we exploit animals in so many ways. And many people want to not exploit animals. So it's just a matter of getting people to realize, hey, it's just as simple as choosing one thing off the shelf instead of another. So Vegan Outreach believes in a few different principles. One of these principles is kind of like a foot in the door. What we mean by that is when we ask people to make a small step, a lot of times down the line they'll make a big step. So an example of this is getting somebody to reduce their meat consumption. So if we go out there and we say, hey guys, go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, you know, there will be some success, but there will not be nearly as much success as if we have like a more reasonable message compared to the current standard American diet. So if we say, hey, you know, reduce your meat consumption, go meatless on Mondays, or, you know, adopt a vegetarian diet, these smaller steps will not only make an instant reaction and is much more reasonable and easy for people to do, but people will eventually be much more likely to make a big change. So that's why we believe foot in the door technique is very effective. Another message that Vegan Outreach kind of pushes is this anti-purity approach. You know, we concentrate on the big things: meat, milk, and eggs. That is where the vast majority of animal suffering comes from. So instead of saying, you know, hey, you should go vegan, you should look at the ingredients of every single item and, you know, grill your waiter or waitress about, you know, what's in every product, it's important to concentrate on the big things, because after all, we're trying to create a vegan world, not a vegan club. So we want to make this as inclusive and big tent as possible. So we want to get everybody included and get everybody to make those really big choices and make a big impact in animals. Vegan Outreach concentrates on college students and young people. And the reason we do this is for a few reasons. For one, they're already questioning the status quo. They're already at a time in their lives when they're, you know, not set in their ways. They also are often living on their own and making their own food purchasing decisions, which is really important. You know, they can't just say, hey, my parents buy me this and I have no choice. And also, they have many, many years of purchasing power and influence ahead of them. So, you know, you create a vegetarian at age 22, you know, they have, you know, 60, 70 years of influence in front of them to, you know, influence many, many people. You know, I heard that if every vegan in the United States creates one new vegan every 5 years, and this continues, we're going to have a vegan world in a few decades. So it's about the importance of, you know, getting out there and doing this work that needs to be done. So like I said before, leafleting isn't sexy, but it gets the goods, and a few examples of that is, like, a couple weeks ago I was at Iowa State, which is an ag school, one of the biggest ag schools in the country, and one of the most agricultural states in the country. And even at Iowa State, I heard really good things. This one student named Kelly walked up to me and said, is it really as simple as just cutting out meat? I really want to make a difference for animals, and I want to go vegetarian. You know, reading through your pamphlet really made me realize how animals are treated. And this is something that she was at an ag school and wasn't even aware of how animal agriculture really operates. So, you know, there's definitely a need for this. Another example is last semester when we were at the U, we met this guy named Dan who had received a booklet from somebody from CAA, I believe, the previous semester, and they'd actually drastically cut down on their meat consumption. So who knows, maybe he's vegetarian or vegan now, but even if he just cut his meat consumption in half, he's still saving dozens of animals per year. One more example is at St. Cloud State last semester. Somebody from CAA handed this woman a booklet, and I talked to her last semester, and she's been vegetarian. She turned her boyfriend vegetarian, and she's on her path to veganism. So, you know, it's definitely very effective. Now we even have data to back this up too, which is pretty awesome. The Humane League is kind of a sister organization to Vegan Outreach, and they did some data collecting of the effectiveness of leafleting. And, you know, one thing to remember is that when we're out there, we're handing out booklets, you know, it feels good, but we don't really get to see the impact we're making necessarily. But this data shows that 1 out of 50 people who get a booklet from us go vegetarian or vegan. 1 out of 10 people significantly reduce the amount of the meat they consume, and 50% of people reported making some kind of positive change. So the amount of impact we're making out there in a small given amount of time is huge. It's absolutely huge. And the data also basically breaks down to every 2 booklets we hand out, we're saving 1 animal per year. So if you saw a dog in the street that had just been hit by a car and is like hobbling around, you'd want to rescue the animal. You'd want to do what you can for that animal. But luckily, doing something pragmatic like leafleting is, you know, you're getting out there and handing out several hundred booklets and saving dozens and dozens of animals per year. So the impact is huge. In 2005, an independent organization did a survey of college students. In 2005, they reported that 8% of college students reported being vegetarian, 1% reported being vegan. The same organization went back to those same schools 4 years later. In 2009, there's now 12% of the students reported being vegetarian and 2% vegan. So it's a 50% rate or 50% increase in vegetarianism, 100% increase in veganism. And I think that leafletting is definitely playing a crucial role in that. I don't take all credit for that. There's many reasons, but I think that in 2003, Vegan Outreach really started upping their game, and activists like many activists from CAA, Fred Tyler himself has done many years of leafletting, and I think that we're really definitely pushing the ball forward for animals. Now, the most important thing really is just getting out there and doing this work that needs to get done. All the points I'm making now are irrelevant if we're not going to get out there on the streets, on college campuses, and doing the hard work that needs to get done. So my call to action to all of you is dedicating 1 hour per week or 1 hour per month to getting out on college campuses and distributing booklets. Uni is the man, and he can make that happen for you like that. And also Grace, who's doing a lot of leafletting coordinating, and many people here in this room are very organized and are very experienced with leafletting, so it can definitely be done. So it'll definitely, at the end of the day, when you are finished leafletting, whether it's after an hour, after 3 hours, whatever, you will definitely find yourself feeling good and feeling like you made some kind of impact. No matter what it is, you're getting a lot more done than sitting around your couch and eating vegan food. Getting out there and doing the work that needs to get done is very important. So you guys can join me tomorrow. I'll be at the U. I'll be there all day. I'll be there from about 7:30 in the morning until like 4 in the afternoon. But anybody can join me for half hour, 3 hours, whatever you'd like. And also, Grace is setting up lots of leafletting at college concerts, which is an opportunity if you work during the day. And also, there'll be other opportunities coming up for leafletting week. And so it's really fun to leaflet with others. Like leafletting is kind of like sex. Leafletting by yourself is fun. Leafletting with 2 people is great. But leafletting with a lot of people, that's fantastic. So I have no doubt that in 100 years, things are going to be radically different for animals. But the speed at which that progress takes place is really dependent on our ability to get out there and roll up our sleeves and do the hard work that needs to get done. So finally, I'll leave you with a quote from the great Martin Luther King Jr. "The arc of the moral universe is long, but ultimately it bends towards justice." And what he meant by that is change is often painful, piecemeal, takes a long time to occur, but if enough people are working towards this, justice is inevitable. Thank you very much. Do I have any questions?
How'd you get started?
I got started, I watched a movie called Earthlings, and I learned about how animals are really treated, and I thought, hey, I have to go vegan, and I went vegan, and I said, instead of just being vegan, I wanted to try and influence others. And I read an essay called A Meaningful Life, written by Matt Ball, who is the executive director of Vegan Outreach. And I thought, this is like the blueprint to creating the most amount of change. And I thought, this is work I want to get involved with. And I started doing it on a local basis in Phoenix, Arizona. And I found it to be really effective. And I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed getting out there and communicating with others. And I thought that this is work I'd like to do. And I continued doing it on a local basis for a few years. I graduated college last year, and Vegan Outreach offered me a full-time position, so now I'm traveling around doing this.
And that essay that he just mentioned, we have a stack there for lots of people. I've given you volunteer orientations, and I've given you that essay.
Yeah.
It's really excellent. I'll also add that, Vegan Outreach has been the national organization that we've very carefully followed their work and kind of modeled our strategy based on what they've said, because we think it's the most effective thing.
I have some other literature too that I'll pass around at the end. I saw somebody with a hand over here. Yeah.
I had a question. I was just wondering if you had some tips for getting more people to take a leaflet.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's amazing. The few small things can really make leafletting more effective and get more booklets in the hands of students. A few things that are really important is you want to remember that people don't want to take something from you or be like you if you look sullen, grumpy. So it's important to smile and I think eye contact really helps too. And I think that making your message, mine is help animals, is making it very short, concise, and clear. So I will often just say help animals, help animals, help animals to the people as they're walking by. And it's a very simple message, and that's what I'm there to do, is to help animals. So we're getting our message across, and even people who say no still see that people are out there trying to make a difference for animals. And I think when you extend it, when you have a hand stack of booklets in your left hand or right hand, and you extend with your right arm, I think that using a straight arm is very important. It exudes confidence. Standing in the center of the aisle or the walkway is also good because it also exudes confidence and forces more people to pass by you so you can reach more students. I always make it a game to basically make it my goal to hit every single person that walks my way. So if I had 10 people walking my way, I kind of think like, how am I going to reach each of these people? So I kind of like shift my body around and like get every single person. And I mean, in a small amount of time, you can reach a lot of people. So like I said earlier, like the data shows that 1 out of 50 people who receive a booklet go veg. So in a class change at a school like the U, you can reach hundreds of people. So in a matter of 3 or 4 minutes, you can reach enough people to create a new vegetarian. So in 3 or 4 minutes of your time, you can create as much good as you will your entire life by just being vegetarian. So the impact is huge. And then I have some other tips too that if you guys come tomorrow, I can definitely show you in person. And it's amazing how just a few little small changes in your approach can increase your take rate and increase the amount of booklets you get out. So you can go from handing out 50 to 250, which is a few little things that really make it more enjoyable. And if you're out there with somebody too, it's a lot more fun. So that's important too. There's another question?
I was at St. Thomas with John on Friday, and Grace was there for a while and things, but it's interesting how the different reactions you get from people are everything from, there are some people who don't even, they just like, I'm just going to ignore this person, so info on helping animals, and they just walk right by, they don't even look at you. And then some people will look at you, but they just sort of get this little smile or something, and they don't respond, and they don't take a leaflet. And then there are some people who are very receptive, and one woman said, thanks for being out here, and there was one woman who said she's a vegetarian, so it's nice to get some feedback like that. But it's funny how, some people just like no response at all, they don't take it. A lot of people will say, I'm good, and it's like, they don't take one.
Yeah, we do find that some people are, not receptive to the message, or some people are naysayers. You might get an occasional snide remark, like, oh, I love bacon, or something like that. But for every one of these,